What happens on days where I just fail some of the goals or all of the goals? I practice gratitude to have another chance. A couple of weeks ago, I fell flat on my face when it came to doing the goals. I barely even made it through the day. I went totally insane. I created more pain and suffering for others. I didn't make, at least outwardly, much of a positive contribution to my family and friends. I did eat a healthy and balanced diet. I did exercise. I did do something productive. I did have something fun with my daughter. I had much, I would have to say, did not stay curious. I think I did do really good helping someone. I did not clean up and fix up well. So I had a day a couple of weeks ago. I, by any definition, failed about 3 to 5 of the daily goals. Now, most days I complete all 10 goals every day. But what happens when I fail the goal some days? As a recovering perfectionist, a lot of my life I live by my grandfather's motto, and I'm sure he got it from someone, that if you can't do it right, don't do it at all. Now, with these goals, these are not like that. We want to take a shot at these goals every day, even if they've already been messed up, even when you've already created a bunch of pain and suffering for others that day, to try and accomplish it by not creating any more pain and suffering for others. For example, the day 2 weeks ago, I just kept having thoughts about not even wanting to be here anymore, thoughts about how awful my life was, all these angry feelings, and frustrated, resentful, regretful feelings. And even though I had a hard time completing all the goals that day, I got right up the next day and completed them all again. Every day is a fresh start, and any time in the day is a fresh start. By that evening, I felt better and was trying to do my best to complete them. So you could easily say that by the end of the day, I had returned to sanity. And by the end of the day, I had made a positive contribution to my friends and family members. By the end of the day, I did have some curiosity as to different ways to avoid getting into the same feelings again. And by the end of the day, I had cleaned up and fixed up most of the mostly mental mess I made. So the nice thing with these goals, it doesn't matter if you fail them, in the sense that every way that you fail them is an opportunity to learn and do better. If you don't exercise one day, to say that, you know what, I'll learn from why I didn't exercise. And you can ask the question then, what can I do to make sure I do exercise tomorrow? Or you wake up, what can I do to make sure I exercise today? You can use things not going right as the perfect motivation to figure out how to do better. When I've been sick the last few days, so I haven't been taking my dogs on a 30-minute walk or an hour-long walk each night, because as being sick, sometimes then it makes sense to adapt and do a little bit less physically. So sometimes things outside your circumstances, outside your control, may prevent the goals from being accomplished. For example, if I'm sick, it doesn't make sense to do a bunch of exercise and then potentially make it worse. If you are starving and you can't get any other food, you might have a hard time eating a healthy diet. If the internet's down all day and you do work like I do on the internet all day, it may be harder to do something like being productive. If you just are around a bunch of crazy people and you can't keep it together, you might have a hard time staying sane one day. You might have to work all day and have a hard time having some fun. You might mess up these goals in all kinds of different ways, but the point is to keep trying again and again and again, and until you get to the point where you accomplish these 10 goals on a daily basis every single day, and then make those habits and continue to re-examine the goals. How am I doing? Can I do even better? What can I do to do better on my exercise without ruining any of the other goals? See, the nice thing about these 10 goals is it requires balance. If I get too obsessed with exercise, it's going to mess with some of my other goals. So if I start, at one point I was doing 8-mile runs that took like 2 hours, and then doing too much of that exercise started to mess up some of how I would be able to do the other goals. If I spend all my time having fun, it may be difficult to do something productive. If I'm doing so many things productive and helping so much, and I may have a hard time staying curious and learning anything new. So the idea is to balance all these goals out to create a balanced life, to not take them over the top so much. For example, if I took 5-hour walks with my dogs every day, that might not be the best way to go about my exercise. But each time I failed at my goals, that's helped me learn how to accomplish them even better on a daily basis. Sure, when I'm traveling, it may be difficult to do some of these. So I accept that aiming at perfection, that's my job. And to do the work to make all these 10 goals every day. And if I miss one or two, those are learning experiences, not proof that I'm a crappy person, not proof that I'm not good enough. So I hope I've added this in about a year after I made the course. I hope this is helpful for you to think about, what if I fail these goals, and to see that every way to fail them is really an opportunity to do them even better, more consistently.